Hello, everyone. It's Coaster Daddy here. Today, we're going to be doing a review on Ravine Flyer 2, which is a Gravity Group wooden coaster that opened in 2008. Um, Waldemere Park is located in Erie, Pennsylvania, and this ride actually has quite the history, which we will get into. Um, but first, going over some of the basics. The stats for this ride, it stands at a height of 80 feet, but it actually has a 118-foot drop, reaches 57 miles per hour, has a 60-degree drop. It travels on 2,900 feet of track, and the ride duration is 1 minute and 30 seconds, which I believe that includes the chain lift. Um, it has the classic Philadelphia Toboggan Company cars that you find on a lot of wooden coasters. Um, it has two trains and 6 cars per train. They see 24 passengers. The ride was built at a cost of $6 million. Um, First of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal history with this ride. Um, I first rode Ravine Flyer 2 in the year, I believe it would have been either 2009 or 2010. That was the first time I rode it. And it was always one of my favorite coasters that I've ridden. Um, I've ridden it several times throughout the years, but I actually recently visited Waldemere Park just about a couple months ago. It was in July I went, and I got 11 rides on it that day. I got 11 rides on it just a couple months ago, and that was actually the first time I had visited Waldemere in about 4 or 5 years. So it was nice being able to get back there and ride this old favorite of mine and all that. Um, that being said, since I got 10 or 11 rides on it, I believe it was 11. I got a pretty good feel for you know this ride again after not have ridden it for so long. Um, it's like I said, it's one of my personal favorites, and it actually has gotten quite a bit rougher than what it used to be. That's something I noticed, but it wasn't like a bad, like painful kind of rough. Like there's that roughness that wooden coasters just have, and I actually like the roughness that it has now because it just makes it feel that much more wild and intense and out of control. And I mean that feeling is great, especially for this ride. You get some really good airtime. I mean, this thing hauls. It's right up on Lake Erie. Waldemere is in a beautiful location, and you get a great view of Lake Erie from the top of this lift hill. But I think we're going to get going into the ride breakdown, and we're just going to go through the ride and kind of talk about it. You start out by pulling out of the station, take a little turn and a dip to the left, and then the car attaches to the lift hill. Then we start going up the 80-foot incline. Like I said, when we get up to the top here, you're going to get a magnificent view of Lake Erie. One of the best views. I mean, it's incredible. You got those nice little flags up there. It's a nice little touch. So, we ascend to the top. We start going down the 60-degree drop. Take a little turn to the right there at the bottom. Go over this magnificent airtime hill over the highway. It's great. Twist up into this turnaround. This turnaround is so intense when you're turning into that. Take another huge drop and cross the road again. We're going to go into the first tunnel, which has an airtime hill. Go over a second airtime hill there. We're going to take a turn to the left. We're going to go up into another little airtime bump. Take a turn to the left, the bank turn there. And then we're going to go into one of the signature elements of the ride, take a right 90-degree turn, dip down into the ravine. We're going to dip up into another little airtime pop, over a dip here, another airtime moment, take a turn into the right, hit the brakes. Now, you hit those brakes pretty hard. I mean, you're flying throughout this entire ride. It's great. Um, so, this ride is unbelievable, and it's one of those ones where I feel like there's a lot of coaster enthusiasts, at least now, from my perspective, that overlook this ride. I mean, and it even has, despite what you may think about the Golden Ticket Awards, um, it's been voted up as high as the seventh best wooden coaster in the world. This year it was voted number 8. And, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of coaster enthusiasts that overlook this. I mean, this ride is truly phenomenal. I mean, having ridden, the Voyage and Ravine and, rides like that, like, this ride definitely holds its own. Now, on to some of the pros and cons. The pros, I mean, it's fast, it's intense, has tons of airtime. The night rides on this thing, oh my gosh, the night rides are phenomenal on this, and that's another thing I got to talk about. The night rides, I mean, you wouldn't think that tunnels would make that much of a difference at night, because it's like, oh, you're going through a tunnel, it's dark, it's already dark outside, but it is, especially flying like you are in this thing, going through those tunnels when it's pitch black, that feeling is unbelievable. You just have no idea where you're going. You're getting thrown out of your seat. It's great. So the night rides on this thing are phenomenal. And you're going over that road. You're crossing the highway there, and you're going across from the park, and then coming back, and it's like, then you're in that ravine, and it's not lighted around there. It's not lit, I should say. It's not lit around the area at all. So you're just flying through the pitch black darkness. It's amazing. The operations at Waldameer I find to be pretty good. When I went there recently, I know the operations were fantastic. I mean, the lines were pretty long for this throughout most of the day. It was a very, very busy day for this park. Very busy. And the line wasn't too long, but still, there was quite a few people in line most of the day. And the longest I ever waited for this was 15 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. I mean, the operations were great. Another pro is the pacing. I mean, the pacing on this thing is excellent. Like I said before, you're flying throughout the entire ride. From when you're let go from the chain lift up until the brakes, you're just hauling. There a couple cons. I put roughness. I mean, roughness, I guess, is kind of a con, but, I mean, honestly, that's even really questionable. I mean, if you don't like rough rides, this ride probably isn't for you, because it is pretty rough, but if you enjoy wooden coasters, you'll like this. I mean, like I said, it's that good kind of roughness that you kind of would maybe want on a wooden coaster, because it just makes it feel like that much more out of control, and I mean, that really works to this ride's advantage in my eyes. And the only other con I have is that it's a pretty short ride. I mean, from the first drop up until the brakes, it really doesn't last that long. I mean, you're going fairly fast, not super, super fast, but I mean, going 57 miles per hour, traveling on 2,900 feet of track, so it's not a very long ride, but it feels pretty complete. It's not like you get to the brakes and you're like, where's the rest of the ride? It's like you don't get that feeling. It feels like a complete ride. So that has been my personal review on Ravine Flyer 2. I would like to hear from you guys in the comments what you guys think about this ride. And if you're thinking about going to ride this, making the trip out to Waldameer, just do it. It is worth it for this ride. It's incredible. An incredible world-class ride, in my opinion. I'm going to give it a final rating of 8.5 out of 10. And I just want to talk a little bit about myself. I'm new here. Obviously, my name is Coaster Daddy. My name is actually Dale, and I've been a coaster enthusiast for quite some time now. And I think I'm going to do another video in the future, kind of dedicated to my time as an enthusiast and just talking about, like, my credits I have and how I got into coasters and how I fell off with coasters and then how I just kind of got back into it fairly recently. So if you guys would want a sort of video like that to help introduce myself better, put that in the comments too. Let me know if you guys want to hear that, because I think that's something I'm strongly considering doing in the future. Um, well, this is Coaster Daddy here. Thanks for watching this. If you could subscribe, that would be awesome. Have a great day, everybody.